Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How about something different for this Explain series? We're going to go down on the M19 and especially on the Akimbo feature here. So that we're talking about only being able to hip fire two weapons. How do you build that the most optimal? How do you make the Akimbo gun work the best hip fire wise? What's the tightest spread? What's the maximum range? Easily. Starting then with the main gun plus ghost straight away. So this could be then your one loadout to rule them all, with potentially the chance in the late game, if you get a second package, to replace the Akimbo M19s through a different close quarter combat gun, depending on the situation, what the map gives away. Do you need a sniper? Do you need a shotgun? Do you essentially maybe need an MP5, MP7, MP whatsoever hipfire gun? The Akimbo M19 Explain series. Here we're going down. I know you'll like it.
Fuel pit.
Inside the garage. There's two down inside the garage as well. I've been close left there. Nice.
Fire truck behind me.
Laying down on the side of the house. Am I being chased? What is going on?
So the damage of the M19 looks actually pretty good. You have 72 on a headshot, 42 on a body shot, 36 on tummy, and 33 on limbs. Now let's be fair, since we're shooting hip fire, what we're mostly looking at is a combination of everything. So the damage profile looks really good because if you're shooting at the chest, it's highly likely you actually hit the headshots, but it's also likely that you actually hit the arms instead of hitting the chest and you're hitting the tummy. So the damage profile is kind of spread over there. Shoots to kill would be like 5 times 42, something like that, or on range rather like with the limbs and the tummy a bit higher. So, but if we're going for 2 headshots, that would also be pretty nice there. So I think the shoots to kill and the damage profile is pretty fine on the M19. Also, we have a very high fire rate, especially when you put on the lightweight trigger. We're going to talk about that later. Max size is 17 and the reload speed is 214. Reload speed obviously gets lower as you do Akimbo. That's the downside of Akimbo, because usually the reload speed is like click, click. But with Akimbo, it's like click and then click, and yeah, then you have Akimbo reloaded. That is the M19's damage profile, which is fairly similar to the Renetti actually. It's the exact same damage points, the exact same fire rate, but both guns obviously then profit different from lightweight triggers and shoot different. But we're covering the M19 here, and now let's go down and check how the recoil does behave on Akimbo and how we can shrink the recoil together. So this is my first recording on Akimbo guns, so let's see how we're going to go down on this. We're first going to test the absolute base recoil, so just having the guns Akimbo. One thing about Akimbo guns that we have to talk about right now is there are 2 ways to shoot them. So way number 1 would be you're actually alternating left and right fire. But let's be fair, who could perfectly alternate left and right fire? And also alternating left and right fire yields mostly the best results. But what's more realistic is that this is going to happen. You're just going to try to spam as fast as possible both mouse buttons. Now let this be set up front. Technically, you could use a macro that on one left mouse button click as you're using the Akimbo, both guns are being shot. Now let's also be fair about this. Doing that is cheating. Yes, it sounds simple, but if you're using a macro to shoot both guns at the same time, you're using a macro to shoot these simultaneously instead of just pressing both mouse buttons, that is cheating. It sounds crazy that a simple thing like this would actually be considered cheating, but it is. Because it's something you could not naturally do without the interference of third-party tools. Now, let's go down on the Akimbo. We're going to shoot both guns straight up simultaneously into this little dude. Not trying to control the recoil. We have like some pull up here. We have very okay spread, I would say. I mean, this is obviously here now on a certain range. But on this range, I would still, yes, I would do shoot this gun. I would not be disencouraged to actually shoot the gun. I would do shoot this gun on this range, realistically. What we need to do now is we're going to slap on, obviously, all the hipfire attachments to make this better, plus the muzzle brake, and then see what we get out of it. Also now, just as a comparison, this is the both guns at the same time. Now, what happens if I would shoot both guns individually? And that's like, that would be alternating. As you see, my fire rate slightly goes down because I'm trying to shoot them alternating. And we see that obviously if you shoot them like alternating, you're kind of not rushing up this much because you're not going boom, 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 boom. But it does not change anything about like the big spread that's happening from here to here. So alternating or shooting at the same time does not make the biggest of all difference, if any. Okay, how would the Hipfire M19s look now? A couple of interesting factors to consider here. First and foremost, we'll need to put a lightweight trigger on for a higher fire rate, losing some aiming stability. Match grade trigger would technically be better because it gives aiming stability, but it gives less hipfire accuracy. So the match grade trigger would be good if you use a single M19, but not for Akimbo. Obviously, you want to put the Akimbo perk on, losing a weapon attachment, which is okay. Then you definitely need the 5 milliwatt laser for the hipfire accuracy to make that better. Now, you would think, hey, could we slap on an XRKLA Super? Technically, we could, but the longest barrel always ruins hipfire. That's a fact on every single gun. I tested this live on stream. The Super barrel is terrible. The extended is okay, but it still feelingly makes it a little bit worse. So if you want to have the the bonus damage range and velocity, so barrels not an option. Then we tested it in a couple of videos right now. The muzzle brake seems to help tremendously with the hipfire. We're also going to compare to the Compensator and to the Monolithic. Then last but not least, your fifth attachment. For squads, I do use the 32 round mag. It just feels better to have the bonus mag options, especially killing down people. For solos, it figured out that the stipple grip tape might be the vibe because you're flying over the battlefield, aim down side speed, sprint to fire speed even faster to get every Jimmy clap the butt cheeks. Now let's take this beast in the Akimbo down into the recoil range and see how it behaves. Now this is the version with the only hipfire attachment, 5 milliwatt laser, but also the muzzle brake. How does it compare? And we can already see the big difference, right? I mean, this is nothing, this is everything. So even on range, like if someone was on range like this, trying to just get him down, that would be a fantastic spray already, considering. Like we cluster them so nicely together, we get it so good done. The muzzle brake is doing a good job of getting like these 2 pixels pretty much, like from here to here, that's from here to here pretty much together. That's super good. Let's compare this also now, like instead of a muzzle brake, we're going to put on a compensator just to see how different this behaves. And no, the barrels, we talked about it, are not an option. So the comp might be an option. We could also do the Monolithic if you really want to see it for the people that can't let go. For compensator, I would now think that the spray might be a little bit more squashed, but it should also widen up technically. We'll see about that. I'm standing a bit higher because, well, that car is in the way, but it shouldn't change all too much in the testing purpose. So that to that pixel, further spread than that to that pixel, tiny bit though. As you see, the shots here more clustered, like they're vertically more clustered instead of being horizontally more clustered. And I'm always in the opinion that when you're shooting a hipfire, you want your bullets to be more middled than you want them to have them more centered like this. Because realistically, you know, your person is not wide, your person is thin and tall. So he's not tiny and thick, like he's not a dwarf, he's an elf. The left one is with muzzle brake, the right one now with Monolithic. If you're still using Monolithic, that's okay, but it's your own fault. As we can see here in a stark comparison, the muzzle brake just has like these bullets here that are all centered. I mean, both sprays have like the spread, right? Both sprays have the spread from left to right. That spread you don't really get rid of because there is some bullets going here. But if you look at the Monolithic, there's like, what is that? 6 shots that are really heavily centered here. And this is the muzzle brake, like the parts where the shots are extremely centered. And that's just like what the muzzle brake pretty much does for the gun. So again, you can use Monolithic. The difference is not worlds, but it's noticeable. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after the testing now, I would say this is the build to go for. Again, stippled off 32 round mag on if we're talking about using this beautiful gun now in quads, trios. For duos and also for solos, I would definitely go for the stipple grip tape. It is absolutely great. You've seen it in the gameplay examples. It does slap and it's super fun to play. Kind of like a new way to enjoy your time in the Warzone. Yes, if an R90 double pumps you in the face, you're going to die. But right now I can't build a gun that has an argument against, hey, if the R90 double pumps you, you're dead. Oh yeah, well, thank you. Like it invalidates every single other thing in the battlefield. The very good thing is when you're starting with Akimbo M19s, you have two choices here, and these choices are amazing. These two choices regard your middle perk. So you can straight up start with restock. You could start with high alert. You could start with ghost. You could start with point man. It doesn't matter whatever you want to start with. I mean, mostly you just have the choice to not go overkill. So what you can do is you can instantly start with stuns, semtex, restock, and just have infinite stuns, especially for solos, quite crazy. Or you can straight up start with ghost, which is absolutely amazing, and then just have one main gun plus ghost, and on the next loadout, which we're going to talk about, you can take even another main gun / another SMG or whatever you need. We're going to go down in this now, explaining the loadout choices we have. The most important part also is you don't need empt, because empt doesn't work when you're swapping away or two pistols. So you can actually take tracker, battle hardened, for example, as there are a lot of people playing flash stuns and everything nowadays. And right now I have to say I've been actually using tracker a lot in solos, but also in quads and trios. And it does work really nice to give you this kind of premonition that you know someone was there, and then you just murder them easily, especially when you're chasing people down with your extreme movement speed. So you have many options due to actually using Akimbo pistols and not having to swap that fast weapons as you're using an AR sniper rifle, SMG sniper rifle. It's fantastic. What do I pair the M19s with? Recently, I've been trying a new Grau build. The new Grau build is the old Nexus barrel Grau that we have been talking about a lot. We're playing it currently with a commando foregrip and a muzzle brake, which might come as a surprise. The range ability is insane. Again, Nexus versus Archangel doesn't make a big of a difference, apart from that the Archangel barrel has twice the ADS time of the Nexus barrel. And if you're using a VLK optic, you don't need this super perfect iron sight. The muzzle brake takes away any visual recoil, any bullet clustering the Grau has. It makes it a straight line beamer, and you only have to compensate for the vert recoil that the Grau has. This is currently the zero recoil Grau that I highly recommend you trying out. This is my new favorite gun. I've been recently playing a lot, and it's super duper fun. Gameplay video will also follow as on the M19, as on the Grau. But again, the most important thing with the Akimbos is you will need an AR that you can whip out also on a 20-meter range. So something that has a great ADS speed, and that's where the Grau performs. The Grau has 280 milliseconds ADS time in this, where Kilo has 400. Which means for me, I have my pistols out for close quarter, everything 1 to 10 meters. And then after 10 meters, I need to be able to have a gun that has such a quick ADS time that I can even contest, worst case scenario, someone that's bunny hopping around on a 20-meter range with his frigging MP5 and trying to spray me down. And that's where the Grau comes in super nicely. An alternative would also be the Ram has an okay ADS time, but I would rather say for solos, duos, and even for trios, there's a second option I want to give you, and that would be an Amax with a tac laser, the longest barrel, a compensator. And now this comes as a surprise. You would put the Mac on, but I slap a commando foregrip on, no more visual recoil on the gun, feels very stable, and the 30 bullets are enough. You mostly need 9 bullets to actually kill someone with the Amax. 9 to 10 bullets. That means a whole duo can get murdered with this easily. Whoop your pistols out, boom, boom, finished. Get the gun out again. You do not need the 45 round mag. Yes, if you're beaming on 100-meter distance with this, yes, it could be annoying that you have to reload in between. But you're absolutely fine to kill everyone in a 10 to 50-meter range with this 30 rounds easily. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this M19 Akimbo playthrough, explain series. I'm really excited to use this more and more in the Warzone. It's developing to be my favorite gun. I've always loved Akimbo Renettis, which we're also going to be revising and seeing if they can be played in a non-burst mode, because burst mode get tremendously nerfed. I'm super excited to see how much fun we can have with the M19. I can already give a slight spoiler. I've played it one day and it's so much fun. The gameplay videos will follow and you're going to be seeing what this beast is. Don't trust people that tell you to put just a Monolithic on. I've seen 20 YouTube videos right now, 20 YouTube videos, identical builds on these guns, and they're all not the best build. They're just a build based on nothing. Not bashing anyone here. Thank you for watching and supporting my content. Hope you enjoyed this. We're going to definitely cover more Akimbo guns, also the Deagles, the snake shots again, and other shenanigans for you Akimbo lovers out there that want to start with restock and that want to start with Ghost straight away. And now before I close the video, because I forgot to say something, the very important thing about Akimbo also is that with this loadout, you can now make a second Ghost loadout. And in that second Ghost loadout, as your primary weapon, you can put an SMG. You can put a shotgun. So let's say you're Circle 5, and in Circle 5, you're only fighting inside buildings, or in Circle 5, it's a bit more open range where you're definitely not going to be able to use your M19s. Well, then you could swap to an SMG like the MP5 or the Uzi or the MP7 that have great range abilities too, in addition to your main gun. You could even choose your Amax, for example, and add a sniper rifle. So there's a potential to have another Ghost loadout for Zone 5 that you then know to perfectly adapt to what you already have here. Ghost plus, boom. You know, you're going to have the M19 again, no matter what, because you need to have a pistol, but you can put on an SMG, a sniper rifle, or whatever you want shotgun that then fits better to the end circle if needed. Enjoy these loadouts, enjoy this, have a wonderful good time, and see you soon in the Warzone. Also, don't forget to check out the second YouTube channel where variety content is coming every single day, almost at 200 subs, working on that monetization over there.